Today with Fumukazi Gundanga of the Poka people. My name is Zilanie and I welcome you to this edition of MPC Exclusive. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I know that Fumukazi Gundanga is quite a mouthful.
It is.
So if you're more comfortable just saying Fumukazi Zilanie, that's okay.
Fumukazi Zilanie, welcome to the program. So what does it feel like being a traditional chief after years of being in the arts and entertainment sector?
Okay. I think many people don't understand that being in the arts sector is not the only thing I do, but that's the visible work that they see. My primary job is working in the environment space. So I am an activist in the environment space, protecting wildlife, handling media and advocacy for prosecutions. The reason the word pangolin is actually so famous in Malawi is because 5 years ago to 7 years ago, we embarked on a specific campaign to work with journalists around the understanding of pangolin trafficking, which is the most trafficked mammal in the world. And because of that, the journalists started using the word and they created memes, and that's how pangolin became such a big meme. We actually worked around that. Now it's developed to songs and all that today. So I come from a place that is about nature and wildlife protection. That's the actual work I do at Institute for the Conservation of Nature, but people know me so much from what I do in the arts. So coming to chieftaincy and traditional leadership isn't so far removed from what I do in terms of custodianship of the land and its resources. It's just another way to make a difference or try to be a part of a community.
How have you managed to adapt, the transition from the arts and everything else that you do to becoming a full-time chief?
Being a person who is present in the community means that you have to literally physically be there. You can't be the leader of a people and live elsewhere. So from time to time, I am in the city, I'm in Blantyre, I'm in Lilongwe, I'm in meetings, I'm traveling. I'm doing work that is related to things that are going on here at home in Poka. But also because I still work in the other spaces of the creative sector and so forth, I try and balance that out too. I didn't leave the arts, I'm still there. Arts and culture and heritage come together. Nature and custodianship of the people and the land is also what I do. So I'm able to balance this. So I'm privileged that I get to work with people who understand this, that I need to do all these things and balance them. I have support system culturally because I have indunas. I have a team of people who represent me and work with me, also guide me. My TA is Malawi and he's so supportive. So I'm able to meet these worlds together.
As someone who has fought so hard for the arts and entertainment industry in Malawi, what did it mean to you when President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera openly awarded artists in the country?
It's just such an amazing milestone that the president, the head of state of this country, has done so many things during his tenure as a president, and now this amazing recognition and honor for the arts. So as somebody who's been in the arts for decades, at the beginning of my time the start of my time in the arts, I never thought we would see a day like this. So it's incredibly meaningful. For us as artists, I think we tend to feel like we're not seen, we're not recognized. A lot of the times, our parents, our families, our communities malign and put stigma around people who are creative or say that, it involves certain behaviors and characteristics that are negative. So, and also how do you make money in the arts? But I think the arts sector has proven very clearly that we've come a long way and we're a very, vibrant industry that should be seen and honored because we put a lot into this economy. So by the fact that NAHEC, the Arts and Heritage Council bill, has come through, last year the president signed it, we're going to have an arts council, we're going to have increased funding for this creative sector. That's amazing. We have a presidential advisor for the arts in State House, that's Malawi. We have the Copyright Fund, which I sit on the committee for, which is providing grants through the media levy, because Soma has been so amazingly vibrant. There's so much development. But for the president to see all of this and see that there's a way forward is great. There's just one more thing we need, though.
As
you're going to ask me what that one thing is?
You've spoken before about arts being sidelined with regards to national development. Yes. Do you think this is a shift towards what you think the arts industry is capable of in Malawi?
Very, very much so. Glad you're asking that, because that allows me to say the one thing that's missing. I don't think it's being sidelined. I mean, there's a lot of priorities, and they're competing priorities in terms of importance to national development. But when you look and understand how much is being put into the economy by the creative industry meaning there are various players at different sections of it that are putting a value chain together and delivering actual economic value. And there's a study that's being undertaken that is going to prove that. We're waiting for that to be published. Formally and informally, the creative sector puts maybe 3 to 7% into the national economy now, but I think after this study we'll be able to take it maybe even up to 12%. So I think the sidelining days will be over once that study comes out, once the national budget has an inclusive arrangement to fund the Arts Council, then we know that we're being significantly seen and taken seriously.
Looking at the recent developments in the past 5 years towards the arts sector, and the recent dinner whereby artists were awarded openly by the president, should this be the tradition?
Absolutely. This is not the end of, maybe we should call it, because we never know what happens, since it's a presidential arts honors, it shouldn't be the last one. Clearly, President Chakwera has started the first one.
Is the arts industry receiving enough support as of today?
No. No one has enough, but it's enough for now. More is coming.
Moving forward, what should be done to improve the arts industry?
More listening to the arts businesses, because the creative sector is not just people involved with arts in the traditional ways of being a musician or a poet or a writer or a filmmaker. They are those who have started actual companies. So I'd love to speak about Mikosi, for example. So companies that create content, that drive conversations. These kinds of arts and creative businesses need to be supported with the ability to import equipment without taxes.
Without taxes.
Just like we do for agricultural and tourism industries. We need to, give incentives and facilities for financing in order that creative businesses can be seen that deeply, because they are making money.
All right. So you once managed the legendary Wambali Nkandawiri, may his soul rest in peace. Mm-hmm. He was awarded on this night. What did this mean to you personally?
It meant a lot. I think Wambali, we can consider him one of the greatest that came from this country and took, his voice and his music further than Malawi. He put Malawi on the map in those ways forever. His music is going to live forever. As a man of God, as a pastoral leader, as a tumbuka, like myself, as a mentor, he really guided me in my learning when I first came back to live here in Malawi about how to traverse and understand the cultural scene and the art scene. So it is a deep honor that he has been honored in this way.
Now that you once managed a legend, should we expect you to produce another legend?
Alina, I don't know what kind of question that is. I think the legend that we need to produce is as a country together. Let us make Malawi legendary. Let us overcome the problems we have, that the art sector be its own legend as an industry. So let's do that.
Are you still managing artists?
No.
The late Wambali is a clear definition of a legacy. Mm-hmm. Do you believe Malawi has the capability of protecting its legacy when it comes to the arts sector?
I know that, because musicians haven't been, particularly musicians, and maybe actors and people in the media, haven't always been given the honor of receiving high remuneration. That's been difficult. When they're in difficulties like illness and old age, it becomes difficult. But there are facilities that are being put in place to cushion this. For example, Kosoma has the Art Sacco, so their savings their savings platforms that can assist if people would honor them and learn to diligently save. Copyright Fund has the creative school that happens every year. We just did the second one last month in July, together with Nico, teaching financial literacy, how to invest your money. When you make those multi-millions and you get those checks, what do you do with it? What portion of it should go into shares? What portion should go into a mutual fund? What you should do and learn about insurance. So this is what we're trying to make artists who are growing now understand, so that they don't get into those difficulties later. So, there are mechanisms where we're looking at how do we support and make sure we build a strong and robust sector that isn't going to be prone to some of the issues that people have had in the past.
In case you're just tuning in, this is MBC Exclusive with me, Alinafe Mlamba. My guest today is Fumukazi Zilanie. We'll be back after this short break. We're continuing with this edition of MBC Exclusive with me, Alinafe Mlamba. My guest today is Fumukazi Zilanie, and we're discussing quite a number of things, from arts, activism, and of course, culture. So Fumukazi, just tell us what motivated that transition from the arts, culture, and everything else that you were doing to being a traditional chief?
This crown, this leadership, is an old one. Many, many years ago, actually 4 generations back, some before, there was a fight for the Chukwumayembe back in the day, and my great-great-grandfather, who was amongst prospectives, and his brothers and cousins decided that they didn't want to be part of the drama, and so they left Malawi. Mm-hmm. And when their descendants came back to Malawi, with permission from the Chukwumayembe at that time, they said, we do not want to take our chieftains back, our chieftainships back. We just want to come back home to the land of our fathers. And so they were welcomed back because they didn't want to be part of the political drama. And so each generation, Chukwumayembe asks, do we want to take it back? So when my father died 3 years ago, and he had said yes when he came back to Malawi, but sadly he passed, he had cancer. And so I was asked afterwards if I would take it. And I said yes, because I don't really know how to say no when I'm asked to do something that's probably going to serve people for good.
So you're basically serving people for good. Mm-hmm. Do you believe you're doing enough?
I think I could do more. I'm in a learning curve, so I think I'm doing pretty good for now.
You are a climate activist. How is your area benefiting from this?
It is my goal that we are going to reforest the entire Poker Hills at the very least. We have a very robust program with various partners looking at reforestation issues. We also are on the border of the Nika Plateau, and in fact, we're on the border because we were inside the park, but colonialism and progress meant that they needed that park to be like that, and they moved us from there. But, so when we say we are custodians of nature and wildlife, that is a very real thing. So in the work that we're doing in terms of the issues of climate change, we look at issues around agriculture and the fact that the depletion of soils, the increase in tobacco farming has changed a lot of the scape and is affecting, definitely. So one of the stories I like to tell is like every rainy season, people can't find mushrooms now, or they find them less and less rather. And one of the chiefs and I were having a conversation during this rainy season, and he's like, I think my son, who's 3 years old, by the time my son is 10, he will not even know what war is and what the different wars are. Maybe there'll be only one left. And so let us use this as the story that we're going to tell. Because when we were kids, when I was a kid, I'd come on holiday, rainy season meant we were going in the hills, masuku, picking wool of the different kinds. I'm a fiend for mushrooms. So ensuring that we can reforest our hills is important, ensuring that people understand it. So by telling stories like that around mushrooms, like, you can't find those mushrooms anymore, you can't find that fruit anymore, helps people realize that, we really are affecting. And also the issues that are happening around the weather changes. people now feel the difference in the climate system. So people know this, we got to do things differently, and people are like, what do we do? Let us remember what we used to do, and let us learn from the modern, and how do we marry these two? So, that is a lot of what we do and what we're trying to do.
Fumukazi.
The other one that I missed. As big coffee farmers in Poka, we're also using agroforestry as a great way to have both food and cash crop. So, you can plant your coffee bushes under trees. In fact, they thrive better in wooded areas than in plain fields. You can grow your yams, you can grow your sweet potatoes, you can grow your soybeans together, all together, to make a dense vegetation, a different climate, and it's better for everything than taking the trees down. Only tobacco don't like trees.
Fumukazi, you are a feminist.
Yes, I am.
Do you face resistance from the people you lead, considering that you are female?
I've yet to come across that story. I've been welcomed with such open arms that I can't say that there's been any resistance to me that I have personally felt or heard. I think because I'm a person who's not a foreigner to my people. Even though I was born in Zomba and raised outside Malawi when my parents were in exile, we stayed connected to Malawi in such a big way. It was always about Tien Kukaya. So I spent a lot of time growing up, coming on holidays here, choosing home always, choosing my people always. My friends will always tell you, Zilanie's gone off to Nshena. Zilanie's on holiday in Nshena. My friends know where I'm from because they come and visit me. When they bury me in Nshena, you'll see my house.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So now, Malawi has faced a lot of struggles when it comes to commercialization of our culture. We often borrow from West Africa, mainly. What do you think is the problem?
I think the people who do that don't know where they're from, because they wouldn't need to borrow if they knew where they're from. When you come home and you understand who you are and what your cultural aesthetics and your cultural values in particular are, you won't feel any need to borrow. So those who are borrowing are curious because they haven't looked inside, and that's where we need to go first. So just come home.
Our Ministry of Tourism has been pushing so much on the commercialization of our culture, yet we seem to be having setbacks. What is causing this?
Interesting. I'll be presenting a paper at Mzuzu University next month on the monetization of the heritage industries towards Malawi 2063. I am arguing the case that if we look, and I hate to use the word commercialization because it means that it may be sounding exploitative, but if we carefully look at how we can look at indigenous knowledge, like our climate change abilities to understand nature, as well as our herbs and our roots. We've got people here exporting gondolosi and bangalala root, and we are not making any money from it, and other kinds of medicine. So I know the government is working on these kinds of things, and those things matter. But in terms of the tourism space, I think there's a disconnect between understanding what tourists want and the kind of tourists that Malawi is attracting. And we could leverage much better if we understood that many tourists want to go to things like the heritage festivals. And this is why heritage festivals are becoming more and more popular. Even ourselves locally, we are moving and more exploring our own culture. We want to go to Mlakwa Lomwe. We want to go to Hora Mountain and be with Ngoni. We want to go to Gonapa Mhanya and come and visit us in Tumbuka with our Tumbuka people. So, understanding that this is how we should be framing the product of Malawi as a place very rich with culture is only going to benefit us in the tourism sector. And that's what we try to do at Lake of Stars. We make sure that culture is very firmly embedded in what we produce at the festival. And even this year in particular, we've taken a very strong approach in looking at local music, traditional music, and then its fusion with Western music. So a lot of what you'll see this year at Lake of Stars is around indigenous music.
Now that you've mentioned Lake of Stars, we've seen several festivals happening. Are these festivals delivering what they're supposed to deliver, especially when it comes to promotion of arts and culture in Malawi?
You want me to comment on other people's festivals?
You, as an artist.
I think that every product gives different value. Not every festival needs to be the same as the other one, then there's no diversity. So a festival that is focused in a different way has its own particular value. And I love what post-COVID did when it brought the day festivals together. It birthed Beerland and such, you know. These kind of festivals gave young people a place to go that wasn't there anymore. Now they have a cultural thing going on with that. I love Sunday Soiree because, you know, we're going bougie now with the young folks and getting glam. I love that there's so much potential around festivals in Cape Maclear, in Mangochi, in Salima, and so forth and so on. So, you know, Sun and Sand, you know, it was birthed from strife, actually, with Lake of Stars, and they decided, we're going to actually make our own festival, said Lucius. Yeah. He did. He said, we're not going to do Lake of Stars anymore, we're going to make our own festival. And that's how Sand Festival was born. And then he realized, oh my gosh, it's really hard to do a festival. And he's like, Zilanie, I need help. And that's what we did. Lake of Stars went and said, okay, what do you need? This is how this is done. We're going to bring a team for you. We volunteered for several years at Sand Festival. And that's why he called Lake of Stars the mother of all festivals. So I think the more festivals they are that are serious and have good investment in them, and curate a project that is specific, great.
You've reinvented yourself from being a journalist, an activist, and then now a traditional leader. What's next?
I don't reinvent. These are just aspects of me. I'm still a journalist. I'm still an activist. I've always been a traditional leader.
So what's next?
I don't know. God only knows. Let's see.
Should we expect to see you joining the political arena in future?
I expect not. First of all, traditional leaders and politics do not align. We are impartial in the political space. We support the people. You don't have to vote for me. I'll be here long after our MPs and other things have been 5 years, God willing.
Fumukazi, it was nice having you in this edition.
Thank you very much.
And that's what we had for you in this edition of MBC Exclusive. My guest today was Fumukazi Zilanie of Nchena, way up in Poka. My name is Alina Fimlamba. Until next time, stay inspired.
Foundation is pleased to have registered 94% pass rate. It is encouraging to know that for the past 3 years, our pass rate has been over 90%. Places